What's up, guys? My name is just Santiago-Hines, and I wanted to talk about pregnancy. This is my first pregnancy, and it was definitely not planned. I had some issues getting off birth control. The reason why I wanted to get off birth control was because I was having a lot of side effects. And when I say side effects, I had a dry vagina. I'm telling you it all. I had really bad anxiety. My TSH levels were going up and down, which was causing me tons and tons of anxiety. I had leaky gut, so like my stomach, I was always bloated. I had just so many issues, like endless amount of issues. And if you want to hear my entire story, you can follow my podcast, She Hustles podcast, and I have an episode where I talk about all my side effects. And it was just like, many years of being on birth control, 10 plus years of being on birth control. And I'm over here thinking this little pill, it was preventing pregnancy, but it was really destroying my body. It was like really a toxin in my body. And there was many years where I used to see different doctors and say, hey, why am I having this problem with my stomach? Or why do I have anxiety? Or why do I have this? And they did not correlate the pill to what was going on with my body. And I work out, I'm very healthy, so I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on until I read this book called Beyond the Pill with Dr. Jolene. And everything in that book basically told me like, hello, the pill is fucking up your body. So I decided to get off December of 2019 because I personally just wanted to get off, not because I wanted to get pregnant. Me and my husband did plan on getting pregnant like in the next following year. But when I got off, I had the worst experience ever. I started getting a whole bunch of acne. My anxiety got worse. I was having panic attacks. I would cry every single day. It was just so bad. I seen 2 different doctors and they wanted to prescribe me levothyroxine, which is a medication for hypothyroidism, because my TSH went up to 10. And during using the birth control pill, my TSH was up and down. Like I would have a normal TSH and then I would shoot up to 8 and then they would recheck and it was normal. So getting off the pill really just made it like shoot really high. So it was at a 10. And I'm a nurse, so if you know anything about TSH level, when it gets up to a 10, that's when they want to prescribe you hormones. So they wanted to prescribe me a hormone, and I refused because I knew that my body was just really just confused of what was going on because it was so used to having those hormones for so many years. So I started to see a holistic doctor, which had prescribed me these herbal medicine. But then I noticed that it was just making me worse. So I was like, okay. And I didn't love the relationship between me and her. She was just very aggressive. Although she did do a lot of work as far as lab work. She tested a lot of my labs, which I've appreciated that. And if I ever need labs check, I'll definitely get back to her versus my other primary doctor. But I wanted to go a more natural route because she was still like a Western / holistic type of doctor. So I contacted a naturopath doctor. I shared with her my entire story, what was going on in my entire symptoms. On top of, I was having really bad insomnia and I couldn't understand. Like, I'm 31 years old and I didn't understand why this was happening to me. I'm like young and healthy. So I paid out of pocket for this naturopath doctor. I told her my entire story. I had a whole hour to explain to her what was going on. And we did a plan together. So she put me on several supplements. I would say probably like 10 supplements with also some holistic practices like detox baths and using a still point, meditation, stuff like that. Changing up my diet, which was, I actually really didn't need to change my diet. She just added some nuts that I had to eat and maybe some teas. And I would say within like a week or so, I started to feel better. I was energetic. I felt great because prior to that, I was like depressed. I was having panic attacks. I was tired all the time. And even with working out, I couldn't really work out. And I'm just like, I'm a lifter. I love to work out. So it was, it was a huge change as far as my energy. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then all of a sudden, a few days later, I started to get sick again. And I didn't understand. I was like, what the hell is going on? I had a whole week of feeling nauseous. I had one day that I almost threw up, but I didn't, because I like decided not to eat. And I craved like a lot of ice cream and cookies. And I didn't really think of anything. I talked to my doctor. I was like, I'm feeling sick again. But I kind of just like went with the motions. And then I noticed that my boobs were getting super sore and I was cramping. But I was like, okay, my period's coming, which it was supposed to come. So this was May 5th of 2020. I was supposed to get my period, and then that day came and I didn't get it. And then a few days rolled in. I was still getting the cramping and the breast tenderness, which was normal for me for my period. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just a little late, because when I got off my birth control, it took me a little while to regain my period, which it actually didn't take that long. I ended up getting my first period in February. It wasn't like super normal, but then March I had a much better regular period, and then April was a regular one as well. April 11th was my last period. So I went a week without having my period. I called my naturopath, which like internally I was like, fuck, I'm pregnant. But still, I was like, maybe I'm not. Maybe it's my medicine. So I contacted her, and she was like, did you take a pregnancy test? And I was like, no, but I was waiting for you to tell me. So that day, I went and got a pregnancy test. And I took the test very early in the morning the next day. You definitely want to always take a pregnancy test in the morning. So I think it was about 5:30 in the morning. I took the test, and immediately, like within seconds, it said positive. And I had no feeling. Like, I thought that when I would find out that I was pregnant, I would cry or something like that. But, me and my husband have been together for 13 years. I know he's been wanting to have a baby for a while, although he was, waiting for timing, waiting for me, waiting till I was ready, which I was never ready. I honestly contemplated whether I wanted kids or not. I love children, but I also love my freedom. So I was kind of like back and forth with that. But when I seen that test, I was like, okay, I'm pregnant. But I didn't cry. I didn't really have like a huge like excitement emotion. I was just kind of like, I don't know, numb, I guess. But I was excited to tell my husband. So I immediately put it in an envelope and I gave it to him, and he looked at it and he was like, what's this? Like, he didn't know how to read it. So I do have a video for that, so I'll show you that video. But yeah, like, he just had this big cheesy smile. And then after that, it was just like, days after that, I called the doctor. Well, I called the doctor that day, and then we didn't have an appointment until 4 days later to take my HCG test. So the appointment came, and I don't have a really amazing relationship with my GYN, especially with the last time that I literally forced her to check my TSH, which we found that it was at 10. She wanted me to see an endocrinologist. I didn't want to see an endocrinologist. So when I went to go get my HCG test, she was very ignorant. And she was like, I told you, you should be using condoms. It's just all this bullshit. And I literally looked at her, and thankfully that I'm a nurse and I've dealt with difficult doctors. And I was like, I'm not here for this. I'm here for you to check my blood, see if I'm pregnant, and then we'll go on for there. I was like, I don't need you to tell me what I should have done or what I should be doing. And then, hello, I'm freaking married. Like, whatever, right? So she was like, all right, I'm going to check your TSH, make sure it's okay. Then she was like, what have you done for your thyroid? And I was like, well, I seen a naturopath. And she was like, oh, I don't believe in those. Those medications, they're not regulated and all this bullshit, right? Just really think about the FDA regulates all these medications that can kill you. You ever watch those commercials where they always say, oh, it makes you happy. Oh, and you can die. Like, yeah, okay. So the FDA, literally, I feel like it's just all about money. So I don't care about that. I'm all about holistic stuff. So when she said that, I was like, whatever. I didn't listen to her. So she checked my blood, and then she called me a few days later, and she was like, oh my God, your TSH level is back to normal. And yes, you're pregnant. And I was like, okay. And like I knew my TSH was back to normal because I felt amazing. So I had called her back because I wanted to know exactly what the level of my TSH was, because as a nurse, I want to know numbers. So she told me, and then I was like, oh, okay. And then she was like, why don't you sound happy? I was like, I'm not happy because I don't like how you judged me and how you disrespected me when I went to go see you in the office. And then she was like, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, because I've had heard this, and that. That's another thing, is that I feel like she really, she goes against HIPAA all the time. She tells me about other people's situations. She doesn't say names, but I really don't like that because I feel like maybe she's using my experience to tell somebody else. So that's another thing why I don't really love her. And I've been in the process of finding a different doctor, but that has been my experience with her. And also during this whole pandemic COVID, my husband hasn't been able to go into any of my appointments. Our first ultrasound was actually delayed, and I had to basically kind of like fight for my ultrasound. And thankfully, there was a really amazing nurse there, that she, you know, called. She called the ultrasound place and was like, "We need to make sure that the baby is in the right position," which was the reason for getting an ultrasound. Thank God, because supposedly my hospital is not doing any ultrasounds until 20 weeks. So many things can happen within 20 weeks. And I was like, no. I was really concerned. I wanted to see a heartbeat. I wanted to see movement because I had a hormonal imbalance. I had issues getting off my birth control. So I wanted to make sure this baby was okay, so that I can now announce it to my friends and my family, my close friends and family. So thankfully I did get my first ultrasound at 8 weeks. My husband couldn't be there. I had a camera already and set to record, but they told me that I couldn't record, and that really even upset me even more, that my husband wasn't able to see the movement. He only was able to see a picture. And then, you know, talking to a geneticist, because I have autism in my family, she wanted to do a whole bunch of testing and then also find out the gender early, which was really exciting for my husband and I. So I went back for ultrasound, and I snuck a little video of the baby. So I posted that on my YouTube channel as well. If you want to see, the baby was flipping and flipping and flipping. It was really amazing to see, and amazing that I was able to capture that and send it to my husband. So that was really amazing, but I did that like maybe what we can't call it illegally, because I wasn't supposed to record. But I think the girl really knew I was recording. She didn't say anything. But that was great too. So we did get the gender results on July 8th, but I'm still waiting for my gender reveal, which is August 8th. And the number 8 is just such a magic number for me. So that's the little reason why I chose August 8th. Although it's really killing me that's taking so long. Right now it's July 21st or something like that. So it's a little frustrating that I'm waiting. But I'm really excited. I feel like it's a girl. And the reason why I feel like it's a girl is that I had my uncle that passed away about 10 years ago. He was the only father figure in my life, and I actually have a picture of him right here. He's my everything. So I had a dream about him, and normally I don't really have a lot of dreams of him, especially seeing his face, but I seen his face, and he threw pink confetti at me. And I was like, okay, is it a girl? Like, I was so excited, but I didn't really know to really is this a dream? It's just playing with me. But I had another, I actually meditated one morning, and then I seen him really in my face, hello, it's a girl. And I remember before I was pregnant many years ago, I would do Reiki, and I would always see my husband with a little girl. So I really do believe that there's a little girl in here. My cousin also had a dream that my uncle was holding my baby and singing to her and dancing and stuff. And that really made me really excited and happy. The fact that my uncle is, making sure that she's safe in my womb. And I'm getting emotional, but I'm not going to cry. But yeah, that's super exciting. So there's so many things that I have to plan and do. This room that's normally my office and workout room is going to be transformed to a baby room. Thankfully, my amazing sisters are going to help me. So these rugs are going to come out, and they're going to be hardwood floors, which is going to be gray hardwood floors. Then the walls are going to be gray, and then the furniture is going to be white. So I'm really excited to transform this room, because I did have an issue with a wall with like I had a leak on my roof that messed up my wall. So finally that's getting fixed. So we're super excited for that. I would say some struggles with being pregnant during COVID is definitely my husband hasn't been able to go to go to any of our ultrasounds. Also, I would have to say dealing with doctors is a little bit difficult, and not being able to travel. I really love to travel, and it would have been nice to go somewhere, like to have a little baby moon, which I'm still trying to think that if I can do that, maybe go somewhere very not that far or something like that. But that's been a struggle. I would say some positive about this pregnancy is my husband's been home. He's freaking amazing. He's going to be such an amazing dad. So it's really been nice that he works from home, because normally he works Monday through Friday, like 7 to 5 o'clock. So it has been really, I've been really grateful having him home. But the struggle is just being home, and just, I struggle with anxiety and depression. So I'm getting tired of being here. So every week I do try to go see my mom or go see some friends and do some things. And but other than that, my pregnancy has been great. My first trimester, I would say, was pretty amazing, because the first month I didn't know I was pregnant, and I thought I was sick only because of my thyroid. And the only symptoms that I really had was the sore breasts. I also had the little bit of cramping in my stomach. I was nauseous for a week. One day of feeling like I was gonna vomit, but I didn't. And then I would say I was really fatigued and just really tired. I napped a lot. And then the only reason why I, took a pregnancy test was because I missed a period. And then after that, my symptoms were just really that. I was just really tired. I napped a lot. I had acne all over my chest though. And you can probably see like some of the scars. I had acne everywhere. I had some on my face, but not too bad. So I had that. And that's pretty much it. So now entering my second trimester, I am 14 weeks. I started to have some nightmares, and I had some nightmares in my first trimester. Like I had one that my husband cheated on me, which was like I just woke up angry. So I wasn't sad about that. I was like, oh, why did I have this? And then I had another one where I met Kim Kardashian. I think it was because I was just watching the Kardashians. And then I had another one that I met Nikki Jam, so that wasn't bad. But I recently, maybe like a week ago or less than that, I had a really bad dream that I was giving birth in a mall, and my baby was stillborn. And the doctor that took the baby out when we were in the bathroom, he was a big asshole and was like, oh, the baby's dead, and then walked out. That was like the most scariest freaking dream I ever had, and I started to have concerns about my baby. Thankfully, I did hire a doula. I had a conversation with her, and those type of dreams are normal, but it was very devastating to think of that type of, dream. So I've had that as a, I would say a symptom for second trimester, and I also kind of like had it in the first trimester. Currently now I feel great. I would say my nose is a little stuffy recently. It's very difficult to sleep. Like in my first trimester, I hardly slept anything. Now I feel like I'm sleeping through the night, but I'm still kind of like really uncomfortable. I'm having upper back pain, and only because like I also just always deal with back pain. So I always have back pain here. So that's getting a little worse now, but I'm going to the chiropractor and the acupuncture hopefully soon to help that. My boobs are freaking huge, like they're humongous. Other than that, I don't think I have any other symptoms. My fatigue has decreased. I'm not taking as much naps as I was. And yeah, and that's it. My belly's getting bigger, and that's been a little struggle because I've been fit for 8 years. So seeing my body change and not being able to fit into certain clothes has been a little bit difficult to look at. But I know I'm accepting the fact that I'm pregnant, that I'm, creating a baby. But I would have to say it's a mind fuck. It really is, because I used to look in the mirror and look at my abs, and now I'm looking at a belly. So yeah, that's just some body images that women go through pregnancy, and then I also think about like losing weight after pregnancy. So that's a little bit concerned, and I'm trying to eat healthy, and I do work out. Thankfully, throughout my first trimester, I was able to work out. I had a few days where I didn't feel good. I maybe took 2 to 3 days off, but I did try to work out at least 3 days a week. Now I'm back to working out 6 days a week. I feel great. But my appetite is definitely increasing. So I've been trying to eat healthy, but man, like I get these like crazy cravings. Like one week I wanted Taco Bell only because I seen Taco Bell on TV. And then one day I wanted Wendy's, and one day I wanted McDonald's, and I hate fast food. So the great thing is that, I'll taste it and then I'm like, okay, I don't want it anymore. But that's something that's also been a mind fuck for me, because I normally eat healthy, and it's just been a little difficult because I just like, what the fuck, I'm pregnant, I'm just gonna eat it. So recently I've been really love cheese sandwiches, especially on a Cheesecake Factory bread. I found them and they're amazing, so I've been doing that. And I've been trying to eat healthy, especially this week, but I've been having some chips, the late July chips, which are a little bit healthier. But yeah, that's been a little bit difficult to really accept the fact that I'm eating a little bit different. But thankfully, I'm still working out. Yeah, so I'm only 14 weeks, so I'm just entering the second trimester. So I'm excited to see what the changes are going to be. I honestly can't wait till my belly is actually like, round, so I can actually look like I'm pregnant. Like I do look pregnant, but I don't know, personally I just feel fat. And just because I'm not so like used to being so chunky. My husband says that I feel like I have fluid everywhere. And it's just kind of like my biceps are almost gone. Really like, it's been a little bit difficult, but I'm getting through there, and I just can't wait to find out what my baby is. And I know it's a girl. I bet my husband that it's a girl, and I get an Apple Watch. But yeah, I think that's been my experience, and I just want to continue to share my journey of pregnancy. One thing I do have to say is that I'm not taking any pharmaceuticals. I have been trying to not take pharmaceuticals for many years after getting off my anxiety medicine and now getting off birth control. So personally, what I use for stress, anxiety, stuff like that, I use Soul CBD for my stress, anxiety, sleep, migraines, anything like that. If you want to try them out, my discount code is FIT4ARN. I'll put it into the notes. I also use Digees for any bloating, because I really had really bad bloating in my first trimester. Now feels a little bit better. I use that. I rub it on my stomach, and then I also put some under my tongue. I use peppermint for any migraines. I put it on my temples, my forehead. I use an ice pack as well for headaches. Also ginger bites. Take lots of naps, drink a lot of water when you have a headache. I also use Goli apple cider vinegar. My discount code is FIT4ARN5. And I use this for overall digestion. It really helps a lot with pregnancy. I drink a little pre-workout, so I get a little bit of caffeine for my workout. I do that. I use a little bit of CBD cream for any pain that I have on my back. And I use Rescue Remedy to go to sleep, Rescue Remedy Plus. It has a little bit of melatonin, so it helps me fall asleep, because I used to be a medical marijuana patient. And although I know there are some benefits of using cannabis during pregnancy, I still want to do a lot more research before I decide that I want to take it. But I am taking CBD, just not THC. So previously through, pregnancy, I was having issues sleeping. So of course I was going to have issues sleeping pregnant because I'm not using THC. So now I use Rescue Remedy to go to sleep. The gummies are amazing. And I also use the Rescue Remedy, like little candies when I have anxiety here and there. But that is all I'm using. I refuse to use Tylenol. I refuse to use anything else. I'm not having any issues with constipation because I do try to eat, at least 1 to 2 veggies a day. But yeah, that's my experience of my first trimester, and I hope that you come back for my vlog for my second trimester. Definitely make sure you go watch my baby announcement. That was super epic. Even throughout this pandemic, we were able to do a baby Hines tour, and we went to certain friends' houses and we told them, and it was a very amazing, like, just such amazing experience that we have been able to share with our close friends. And then next is our gender reveal. We're having a football and tutu, gender reveal, and I'm super excited. So I'm telling you now, it is a girl. So anyway, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.